What is up? It's Whitney Bro. And in today's video, we're going to be doing another Shop My Stash. I absolutely love Shop My Stash videos. I'm so excited to film this. And we're going to go ahead and just get right on into it. For foundation, I think... actually I'm going to use the Ulta Complexion Crush. And then for concealer, I've been using this one a lot recently, so I think I'm going to use my NYX Bear With Me. And for blush, I do have some of my blushes in the same drawer. So I think we're going to go ahead and use the shade Posy Rosy. For bronzer, I'm torn between a cream or a powder. No, actually, I think we'll use the NYX matte bronzer today. For highlighter, the one that's coming at me is my Catrice Sungasm. For my eyeshadow, I think I'm going to use a palette that I haven't used in a while, which is the Born Ready palette from Ellie and bperfect Cosmetics. Mascara, I think we're going to go ahead and use the Essence Lash Princess. For brows, going to stick with Old Faithful, the NYX Brow Glue. For primer, I think I'm going to use my NYX Ultimate Eye Primer. For my lip product, I think we're going to use my trusty chocolate lip liner from LA Girl, as well as a lip crayon that's just kind of a nudie peach. For primer, I only have my Power Grip primer, so that's what we're going to be using. I hate this packaging. I think it's stupid, but that's neither here nor there. This primer, unlike the one with niacinamide, does have a slightly hydrating component to it when it first touches your skin. The niacinamide one, that one kind of just feels like straight up glue that you're putting on your face. I don't hate it, but it has a time and a place, basically. So now that we've primed, we're going to go ahead and move on to the foundation. And I'm in the shade Tan Neutral. So we're just going to do a pump of that. A squeeze, more like, there's not really a pump here. And then I'm going to take this kind of wide kabuki brush. It is from Morphe, but I have no idea what the number is. But we're going to take that and we're just going to start applying it to the face. I really love this brush because you can just kind of buff it in. Really, however, you can be kind of messy with it. You just can't beat a good kabuki brush. Okay. Now that I have that applied, we're going to go ahead and apply my concealer. If you've seen any of my videos, I do not blend out my concealer when I apply it. So we're going to apply this, and my concealer's in the shade Golden. It's going to look a little cray-cray for a moment, but that's okay. I just love the texture of this concealer. It's such a lightweight, thin formula. It just feels kind of soft. I'm going to go on in with the bronzer while we're waiting for that concealer to set. And I am going to use a big fluffy brush. I haven't used a brush like this in a moment, but I used to love doing my bronzer with a big giant brush like this. My best friend actually got me this brush as a birthday gift. But this bronzer really is good. It is so good for how cheap it is. And I like it because the tone is very subtle and natural. So the look that we're coming out with today might end up being a little bit more of a quote-unquote everyday kind of look. Wasn't my intention when I picked everything, but it's looking like that's what it's going to work out to be. My favorite thing about using a big brush like this is you always will go through a moment where your makeup looks worse before it looks better. But you just have to trust the process, trust that you know how to blend, and it will quite literally buff out. So it does build really nicely on itself, which is one of the things I enjoy about it. Just gives a very natural sun-kissed bronze. And can't forget, we're going to go in and just buff underneath with no extra product on the foundation brush, but just enough to clean up where we might have got a little out of hand with the bronzer. Now that our concealer has had a chance to sit, I am going to go ahead in with a powder puff and blend that concealer out. I love this technique of using a powder puff. One of my friends put me onto it, and it really blends out concealer in a way that is borderline magical. And even if it's a concealer that you've had problems with in the past, it is something I believe that you can correct by using a powder puff to blend it out. For blush, we're going to go ahead in, and I'm using that shade Posy Rosy again, and we're just going to do 2 dots on each side. I like to go back in to make sure I'm getting the same amount of blush on both sides. It's a little higher and lower, but it'll buff quite literally. And then we're just going to go in with stamping motions and spread that blush out from the initial area where it was applied, making it a nice flush of color instead of a hard, staunch color. Ooh, my hair is in the way. It's important to put the same amount on both sides so that you're keeping everything symmetrical, because otherwise you'll inadvertently make one side of your face look heavier if there's more blush on it than the other. The highlighter is going to go a little against the vibe that we have going on right now because this is a very blinding highlight. But, you know, sometimes you have to have one thing that's a little extra. I just love this highlighter so much. I know other people tried it and there were kind of some mixed reviews. Some people hated it. I just love how big that pan is. It's literally like the size of my face. So to me, I don't think you can beat the value because I think this is only $10 too. Oh, we're getting a little carried away on the one side. And then we're going to go under the eyebrows and highlight. I like to do this step before I do my eyeshadow because then my eyeshadow won't conflict with whatever else I have going on. On to eyebrows. And I have just been loving using the NYX Brow Glue lately. They do have a version, I don't think it's called the same thing. I think it's called like Thick It and Stick It or something like that. But supposedly it's the same formula as this, but with a tint to it. I've never tried it just because, like I said in some of my previous videos, my eyebrows really don't need a whole lot of help. They are thick on their own, and I am very fortunate in that regard. I basically just like to use a product that's going to kind of tame them. And then I just do a slight rub to get off any excess. Next up, we're going to go into the eyes. And this eye primer, I have mixed feelings about. I don't hate it, but it's not like a holy grail for me. I don't know. The more I tend to use it, the more I like it, but it's also very, me liking it is very new, I will say. So for my eyeshadow, I'm going to go in with the shade EK here. And that's just on an SL Miss Glam SS57. I don't even know if this brand exists anymore. Thank you, Ipsy. I really do love this palette, though. I actually took it with me to my cruise when I went to Mexico. And it was one of the most used palettes that I brought. I think I brought a couple others, if I remember right, and this one got used the absolute most. It just has a really good layout, whether you want something more dramatic or whether you want something softer like we're kind of aiming for today. Once that transition shade is laid down, I'm going to use my 123 eyeshadow trick, and we're going to go in with the shade Royal right here. Just a little bit because it is very pigmented, and that's going to go in the inner corner. We actually might layer it because it's a little more white than I want it to be. So we're going to get a very thin layer of that built up. It looks almost silver, which is crazy because in the pan it looks like it's going to be a white gold. Or is the silver fitting the vibe? No. We're going to go into the shade Secco, which is a kind of more greeny gold, and then that's just going to get tapped over top to slightly warm up this silveriness. And then we're going to go into that shade right here called Perf. And that is going to be the outer corner shade. If we want to get a little darker, we can go into Antique, which I am going to do a little bit on top of the perf shade. Really pretty. So once we have the eye like that, we're going to go in with the first brush that we used and just get rid of any awkward, harsh lines that we may have accidentally created. I love that. That's so simple and cute. So that'll complete the eye look. And I really do like how everything came together. Like I said, I love using that palette. It was nice to revisit it because I haven't used it in a minute. So next up, we're going to use our mascara. I just love how bright it is on the inner lid. I keep getting distracted by my eyeshadow while I'm trying to do my mascara. So with that mascara, that does complete the eye look. I really do enjoy how bright it is, how simple yet chic. Now we're moving on to lip products. I'm going to go ahead and line my lips. I adore these lip liners. They're only like, I think at their most expensive, they're like $3.50, which is fantastic. And then I'm going in with that kind of peachy nude. But it does lean cool tone, so it still works with our look that we have today that is a little bit more cool toned in both the blush and the eyes. I tried to warm it up, but there is still that level of iciness to the eyes. With that lip completed, it does finish the entire look. I really did have a lot of fun shopping my stash with you guys and creating this look. It was a lot of fun using products I haven't used in a while and rediscovering why I loved them, why they're in my collection in the first place. If you like Shop My Stash videos, give this one a big thumbs up. If this is the first time you're seeing my face and you want to check out some more of my other videos, go ahead and click on this playlist right here. It does have a lot of my tutorials in it. Or if you're someone who kind of likes rant videos more, go ahead and click here. This is my Talkin' Shit with Wit series where I kind of rant about things both makeup related and not makeup related. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!